They won't tell you this, but losing friends can feel like freedom. Not because you gave up on people, but because somewhere along the way, you realize something rare, that silence can be more honest than most conversations. We live in a world obsessed with connection, messages, notifications, endless chatter, yet somehow, the deeper you went into it, the emptier it all started to feel. You didn't stop showing up because you stopped caring. You stopped because every "how are you" started to sound rehearsed. What if solitude isn't loneliness at all? What if it's evolution? A quiet rebellion against the noise and the beginning of actually meeting yourself? Because maybe the real hero's journey isn't about finding your people, it's about finding yourself. So how do we get here? From craving connection to craving silence? And why does being alone suddenly feel right? To answer that, we have to go back to when friendship still felt like truth. You felt it. Not suddenly, not with drama, but slowly, over years. The realization that you don't have friends anymore. And the strangest part? You're not sad about it. You're relieved. There's something profoundly different about people who choose solitude. Not because they're broken. Not because they're antisocial. But because somewhere along the way, they discovered something most people never will. That being alone isn't loneliness. It's clarity. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you actually wanted to see someone? Not out of obligation. Not because you should. Not because someone invited you and you felt guilty saying no. But because you genuinely craved their presence? If you're being honest, it's been a while. Maybe years. And that's not because you hate people. It's because most interactions feel like this. Surface-level conversations. Performative laughs. Small talk that drains you. Energy spent pretending you care about things that don't matter. You leave those moments feeling emptier than when you arrived, not because they were bad people, but because the connection wasn't real, it was theater. And somewhere deep inside, your soul stopped buying tickets. When you were younger, you thought friendship meant connection. You thought having people around you meant you were living right. You believed the world when it told you. If you're alone, something's wrong with you. So you tried. You showed up to gatherings, you texted back. You maintained relationships that felt more like maintenance than magic. And then one day, you stopped. Not with anger, not with resentment, just quietly, like a hero who realizes the battle he's been fighting isn't his to fight anymore. Because here's the truth they don't tell you. Friendships aren't supposed to be work. Real connection doesn't exhaust you, it refuels you. And when everything around you drains instead of fills, your soul does what any intelligent system does. It withdraws, not out of weakness, out of self-preservation. Carl Jung had a concept for this. He called it individuation, the process of becoming who you actually are by shedding everything that isn't you. And one of the first things you shed? Relationships built on who you used to be. Because here's what most people don't understand. You didn't lose interest in friendship. You lost tolerance for shallow connection. Your nervous system evolved. Research in developmental psychology shows that as people mature emotionally, they unconsciously filter relationships based on energetic resonance. Translation: your body now rejects what your mind used to accept. You used to tolerate conversations that go nowhere, people who only call when they need something, friendships sustained by nostalgia, not presence, but now your system says no before your mind even processes it. That's not coldness, that's clarity. You're not running from connection. You're refusing to settle for the illusion of it. And here's the part that might sting. The reason you prefer being alone now isn't because you don't need people. It's because you finally need yourself more. For years, you outsourced your sense of worth to others. You measured your value by how many people wanted you around. You equated solitude with failure. You believed that a full calendar meant a full life. But then something shifted. Maybe it was disappointment. Maybe it was exhaustion. Maybe it was just time. And you realized the relationship you neglected most was the one with yourself. You didn't know who you were when no one was watching. You didn't know what you liked when no one was there to validate it. You didn't know your own voice because it was always drowned out by the noise of others. And solitude? Solitude became the only place you could hear yourself think. That's not isolation. That's self-return. You're not avoiding the world. You're finally meeting yourself. So if you feel guilty about this, Stop. If you think something's wrong with you because you'd rather be alone, it's not. You're not broken. You're not antisocial. You're not cold. You're just done pretending that shallow connection is better than deep solitude. The hero's journey isn't about collecting companions. It's about becoming whole enough that you don't need validation from outside yourself. And that's terrifying to most people, because most people define themselves by how others see them. But you're learning to define yourself by how you see yourself, and that requires silence, space, solitude. Not forever, but for now, because right now you're not losing friends. You're finding yourself. There's a hero inside you, not the kind that saves the world, the kind that saves himself, by choosing truth over performance, by choosing depth over distraction, by choosing his own company over the emptiness of crowds. And one day, when you've fully met yourself in that silence, you'll be ready for real connection again. Not because you need it, but because you're finally whole enough to offer it. Until then, the solitude isn't loneliness. It's preparation.